Tonight on Joy News, Prime President Akufo-Addo reiterates his resolve to revive the economy as he admits the country since independence has not lived up to expectation.
I am confident that we will revive and revitalize the economy and put our nation back on the path of rapid economic growth.
Also, managers of the National Service Scheme proposes an increment in the allowances of national service persons.
On us from the new executives, especially about seeing that your allowance is moved up. To your information, the board, we've sent it to the board has given us the approval.
And in the energy sector, Ghana's nuclear power plant expected to produce 1,000 megawatts of electricity when completed.
I said 1,000, 3,000, 1,002. Because it depends on the technology. The Russian technology is about 1,200 megawatts.
And later, as we gear up for the second mini clinic of the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair this weekend, we'll tell you about the DBS Industries roof trusses, which are environmentally friendly, fire resistant, and termite proof.
Being a bigger storm, it won't fly off your roof.
Okay.
And in case there's a fire outbreak, your property or your building is protected. We advise customers just to come to DBS so that we can give them that peace of mind.
And a little later in the bulletin, I'll be handing it over to Beverly for Prime Business and Gary for Prime Sports. Beverly, what's coming up in business?
So UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has urged Ghana and other governments to tax its oil and gas companies more due to the high revenue these companies make.
It's immoral for oil and gas companies to be making record profits from this energy crisis on the back of the poorest people and communities and at a massive cost to the climate.
And after Beverly, I'll tell you how Ghana has won a third medal at the Commonwealth Games, in addition to the new track and field sensation Abdul Rashid Saminu of the University of Ghana.
Whoa, whoa. The crowd was very mad. And I said, whoa, is this me? So when I see myself on this screen, I say, whoa, is this me?
My name is Sogah. Always remember that we are your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. Please stay. And tonight, President Akufo-Addo says he's optimistic about the future of the country that will guarantee unlimited access to education, healthcare, decent paid jobs, as well as a befitting and dignified retirement for her citizens. At a launch with senior citizens of the country as part of activities marking the Founders' Day celebration, the president said Ghana, despite its huge potential, has not lived up to expectations since independence. He pledged to ensure a revival of the economy, which is now relying on the support of the International Monetary Fund for survival.
These are challenges of today to shape our collective future. The most recent of these challenges has been the COVID-19 pandemic, which has compromised the economic gains chalked in recent years. As a result of the pandemic and its impact on the economy, things are not what we would like as far as the economy is concerned. They've been worsened even further by the effects of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Government has, however, outlined a series of measures, including seeking the assistance of the International Monetary Fund in the short term to help repair our finances. I am confident that we will revive and revitalize the economy and put our nation back on the path of rapid economic growth, a scenario we had become accustomed to in the last 3 immediate years before the pandemic struck. This is a solemn pledge I'm making to you. I remain resolutely optimistic about Ghana's future, which I continue to believe is bright.
Dr. Michael Ayamga Adongo is a development economist joining us on this conversation. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. So we've heard this from the president on countless occasions, but do you see any actions to the words and assurances of the president?
Yeah, thank you, Kofi, for having me. I think it is going to take more than the president's English accent on a contentious holiday to achieve economic recovery. What this country lacks is leadership. Patriotism and hard work and dedication has never been scarce in this country.
But these are some harsh words. I'm sorry for cutting through, but I guess these are some harsh words. Doc, I guess these are very harsh descriptions you're using against the president.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. I think that on a day like this, we need to be very forthright and say that this holiday is contentious. And if you wanted to call for national unity, you don't have to do it on this day. This is a day that divides the country. If you watch social media, you watch everywhere, you will notice that everybody is celebrating different things. Some are celebrating Nkrumah, others are celebrating the Big Five. Let me call it that way. And if you want to foster national unity, you don't do that on a day that many see as a day set aside to diminish the standing of Osagyefo Nkrumah, who many see as the legitimate founder of the Ghana. So I think that if the president wants to forge national unity, he should do it on a day that everybody considers to represent our history.
Yeah, yes, but I guess
as a people.
Yes.
So I have a very yes. Having said that, you can always believe in the Ghanaian to bounce back. I think that our economic challenges are a matter of leadership, and as a result of mismanagement of the economy, exemplified by reckless borrowing and misapplication of the process of economic growth. So if you look at us today and we want to blame what happened in this country on COVID and Russia, it is a misdiagnosis of the problem and we are not going to move forward. I have been saying that even in the COVID year, and the Bank of Ghana data supports it, that we did not lose anything in terms of our domestic revenue. In fact, in 2019, our domestic revenue, including grants, our domestic revenue grew, our revenue, including grants, grew. So you can't tell us that even when your revenue is exceeding the pre-COVID years, you blame COVID for what is happening in this country. We have borrowed excessively. If you go into the markets and ask why is Ghana where it is today, they will tell you that it is debt, DE, distress. It doesn't have to do with COVID. It is the excessive borrowing and misapplication of these funds that have resulted and has led us where we are. And we need to accept that and stop blaming COVID. I have said it time with that number, that alone would prevent us from moving forward as a nation. You try to blame the issue on revenue. And for example, the only thing missing today in our bag of tools for managing this economy is money from the capital markets, borrowing from even bilateral sources. That is the only thing missing. If you look at even our tax revenues and our other source of revenue, you notice that even COVID hasn't done anything significant to them. This is a government that has accumulated about 246 billion Ghana cedis since it's 35. It has more than doubled that. And over the years, it has been spending less on capital sectors and spending mostly on consumables and consumption, and has failed to actually diversify this economy away from gold and away from oil. So
all right,
these prices take a hit with soft nation. That is the rather than blaming COVID. So I think that the president in the first place and the team in general is trying to shift blame, and this time it is not going to work. That is the key issue here. It is not going to work if we blame COVID and Russia. We are not an island. Other countries are faced with
Anyway, I guess we're having some challenges with the connection there, but your point is well made. Dr. Ayamga Dongo, development economist, joining us from Zanzibar. We're grateful for your time. The National Service Secretariat has tendered in an application proposing an increment in the allowances paid to service personnel. The Executive Director of the NSS, Osei Entry, who disclosed this, said the proposal, which has been blessed by the board, is awaiting approval from the Education Ministry. He was speaking at the National Service Personnel Association mini Congress in the Volta region.
National service personnel in Ghana have been expressing strong disapproval of their 559 Ghana cedis 4 pesos monthly allowance. They lamented the allowance is woefully inadequate to take them through the month and appealed for an increment. Speaking at the 13th Annual Mini Congress of the National Service Personnel Association in Ho, the Executive Director of the National Service Scheme, Osei Entry, hinted at plans to increase the allowance.
We've gotten all the demands on us from the new executives, especially about seeing that your allowance is moved up. To your information, the board, we've sent it to the board has given us the approval, so we sent it to the appropriate quarters. That is, we sent it to the central government for government to look into your allowance issue. So rest assured that very soon you also smile as others are also smiling.
He detailed that the scheme has changed its mission statement to mobilizing for employment, positioning itself to help resolve graduate unemployment.
For all these years, the mission statement for national service was mobilization for deployment. But with the support of my directors, then together we brainstorm and have changed the mission statement for the simple reason that if you base your argument and you analyze the first mission statement, it was only positioning us as a conveyance belt. We were just picking and taking the class league from the university, then deploying them to the various user agencies. But now that we have changed the mission statement, it has given us a duty. It has given us a task. And the task is that we need to support the central government to be able to solve the unemployment situation.
The Volta Regional Minister, Dr. Archibald Lecha, expressed optimism the Akufo-Addo government would rescue Ghana from the current economic crisis.
The difficulties we are going through is not peculiar to our country. It's very important. Sometimes those of us who watch CNN, Sky News, all the networks are those who even behave as if Ghana is the only country going through these current difficulties. But I believe that the government of His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo will take us through this difficulty, and Ghana will be on the path of growth once again. We have to let people understand that education is the only way we can get out of poverty. So when any government council decides that everybody must go to school, whether your parents have money or not, it is an investment we are making into the future of this country. Hallelujah.
Fred Kwame Asari, join.
Let's talk energy now. The Executive Director of the Nuclear Power Ghana has revealed that Ghana's nuclear power plant, when completed, has the capacity to generate some 1,000 megawatts of electricity. Professor Stephen Yamwa was speaking at the day 2 of a workshop for selected editors, where Adom TV editor Martha Crintle-Aqua reports.
Day 2 of the workshop focused on writing about basic science and technology, understanding technical issues, as well as basic safety, safeguards and security requirements of nuclear power and safety concerns of the public. Delivering his lecture, the director of the Nuclear Power Institute, Professor Seth Deborah, noted that nuclear power is safe as the conception through management and decommissioning are properly regulated.
Go to the etymology of education, it comes from the word "educo," is to draw out. So everybody has his or her, we call it the bend of the person. what the person is good at, what is your passion. And then, based on that passion, the teacher needs to draw out that passion. And you build on that passion.
On the concern of the level of radiation humans are exposed to, the executive director of the Nuclear Power Ghana indicated it largely depends on the dosage, but most people ordinarily will not be exposed to dangerous levels even if they work at the nuclear power plant. On capacity, Professor Stephen Yamwa revealed Ghana's nuclear power plant, when regulated, could add 1,000 megawatts of electricity to the national grid.
I said 1,000, between 1,000, 1,002, because it depends on the technology. The Russian technology is about 1,200 megawatts. The Chinese one is about 1,100. The Indian reactor is 700 megawatts. The South Korean reactor, 1,400 megawatts. The French, 1,006 megawatts. So that is the range of the large reactors.
Engineer Dr. William Amuna, who is the technical controller at the Millennium Development Authority and former CEO of GridCo, in his presentation on public safety and environmental concerns, urged operators of Ghana's nuclear plant to ensure there is maximum security at all fronts, including picking only the best engineers to work at the plant.
Maybe one of the units within the town trip, that will not affect the system. But where you have the situation that you have a big 1,000 megawatt unit, and then it goes off, your system will collapse. The other interesting thing I want to state here is the fact that journalists are always talking about 100 megawatts, 2,000 megawatts. I will talk about energy. Gigawatt hours, kilowatt hours. That is what is important. The load factor for the nuclear plant, I think it's over 90%. 90%. Akosombo produces about 5,000 gigawatt hours a year. And this nuclear plant will also produce a similar thing.
The 1,000 megawatts capacity expected from Ghana's nuclear power plant when completed at its full capacity is the same as the full capacity of the Akosombo Dam. Martha Krensolakwa reporting for Joy News.
And wooden trusses are mostly used in the housing construction industry to support a roof. But one of Ghana's top roofing companies, DBS Industries, is advocating the use of its steel trusses, which are a sustainable replacement for wood. Speaking to us ahead of the second mini clinic of the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair, scheduled for this weekend at the West Hills Malls, sales and marketing manager of DBS Industries, James Gosen, touted the steel trusses are environmentally friendly, fire resistant and termite proof.
Trusses, yes.
Yeah, can you tell us more about the trusses?
So trusses, you know, nowadays getting wood has been very difficult, and the process that you go through before you even get a wood has to do with the forestry. So we advise customers just to come to DBS so that we can give them that peace of mind by doing trusses for them.
Okay.
The reason is a very lightweight material which doesn't exert much weight on your building.
Okay.
When talking of light, someone will ask, but since it's a light material, then it means a wind or a storm can blow it off. It is well engineered, and we secure it or anchor to the building very well that when there's even a bigger storm, it won't fly off your roof.
Okay.
And in case there's a fire outbreak, your property or your building is protected, more or less like wood will eventually even burn. Yeah, and
but the trusses, it doesn't burn?
No, it doesn't burn.
It's fireproof?
Yeah, it's fireproof.
Really?
It's fireproof, it's waterproof.
Oh, okay.
Good. And then we also give 50 years warranty on the trusses.
Okay.
Yeah, so aside the warranty, and one good thing about the trusses is it's movable and packable in the sense that after years, probably you'll be fed up with your existing building, so you will be probably thinking of a renovation.
Yeah.
So that's where you can, because of is we use screws and nuts, so you just have to unscrew it, pack them. Later, if there's a need for you to add on, you add on, then you redo the installation again. Yeah, and it's termite free. There's no way termites is going to attack your metal. Yeah.
Where is this trusses? Can we see?
I think these are components of the trusses. Yes, this metal are just one component of the trusses. Yeah. I think the best thing they have to do is we have a very good team. We normally advise customers on time-to-time basis. So what they have to do is they just have to contact DBS, because I believe every building is unique. Every building is unique, so you can't. A building in Osu is different from a building at Polygono. So they just need to contact us, then we'll advise them accordingly. That's where our first request comes in. When you wanted to do a business with us, we assign a professional and a skilled estimator to your site to assess the property.
Okay.
So the assessment has to do, we do the assessment and we do the measurement as well at free.
And we certainly do have some exciting packages for you. Remember to be at the West Hills Mall from Friday to Sunday for the second clinic of the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair. Thanks for staying with us here on Joy News Prime. Still to come, the Ministry of Transport has ordered for the refurbishment and inclusion of the Elmina Fish Processing Plant into the Elmina Fishing Harbour project. And you're welcome back. The Ministry of Transport has ordered for the refurbishment and inclusion of the Elmina Fishing Processing Plant into the Elmina Fishing Harbour project. Sector Minister Kweku Ofori-Esama says the €105 million Elmina Fishing Harbour project being built will be complete if the fish processing plant is not operational. The $11.6 million fish processing which was commissioned in 2016, has not been operational, but was reduced to the molding of ice blocks. Now, speaking in an interview with Joy News after inspecting the fishing harbour, the sector minister assured that the harbour project, when completed, will serve not only the people of Elmina, but the people of Cape Coast and the central region in general.
The transport minister toured the facility at Elmina to acquaint himself with the progress of work there. Kweku Ofori-Esama expressed satisfaction with the rate of work currently ongoing at the site and asked for the abandoned Elmina fish processing plant to be included in the design of the harbour. According to him, the Elmina Fishing Harbour will not be complete if the fish processing plant built about 6 years ago is not incorporated in the plan.
We cannot have this facility fully functioning without the fish processing plant. It is because of the existence of this processing plant that in the new construction we do not include it. So if there's a problem with it, we need to refurbish it. We need to make sure that it works, because we cannot have a fishing harbour without a fish processing plant, which include coastal and other things. So we need to have it ready. This is a fishing harbour. This is not a landing site. Right. We have 2 fishing harbours in this country already. Right. We are upgrading this place into a fishing harbour. We are not doing a landing site. We are upgrading this place into a fishing harbour. Right. We have a secondary fishing harbour. We have a thermal fishing harbour. There are 2 fishing harbours we are building in addition, here and Jamestown, in Accra. And this place is going to be handed over. They will finish this fishing harbour latest by the first quarter of next year.
On the controversy of the promise of a harbour in Cape Coast, the minister indicated that the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority has a master plan within which ports are sited, and within the coordinates, it's Elmina that's most plausible for the siting of the harbour. He explained that when the harbour is completed, it will serve not only the people of Elmina, but the people of Cape Coast and all parts of the central region.
He said he will build a port in Cape Coast, by Elmina. But in our GPHA master plan, we name ports according to our coordinates. And if we say we will build a port in Cape Coast, not exactly, but it's an enclave. But these are, for me, it's not a substantive matter that for me to do. But the most important thing is that what he did promise is actually being manifest. That he was going to build a port, and that's exactly what we set out ourselves to do. And because of the COVID, this project has delayed a bit. And I need to reiterate this point. I'm praying that one day they will appreciate what government has done for them. This is the president who has set out himself to develop this country, now according to his electoral fortunes. Everybody knows that Elmina is under our best place when it comes in terms of election. But so far as it's concerned, He's been voted as a president to develop this country. So whether the people vote for him or they don't vote for him, he has a mandate to develop, and that's exactly what he's going to do. So when people out there cried out, the president said he was going to build a port for people of Cape Coast, he hasn't done it.
The contractor for the project, Wim van Hoof, explains the work done so far by the Bell Sea Limited Ghana Limited, the contractors for the project.
Well, first of all, it's called the Almina Fishing Harbour Rehabilitation Project. Before we came here, there was a port with 2 breakwaters. If you turn around, you'll see that it's now the very large new breakwater has been installed. There is a new reclamation. Actually, where we are standing right now, 10 months ago, it was water. Some buildings will be built specifically for the fishermen. And then behind me, you can see another breakwater, effectively extending the port 3.5 times. Reached almost 90% completion. We've done our major scope, the breakwaters, the reclamation, where we are standing now. We are almost finalizing the quay wall.
When they intend completing the project and subsequently when they are handing it over. The €105 million project is expected to help shore up the fishing businesses of the people of Elmina, Cape Coast and the Central Region. Reporting for Joy News, Richard Kwejunyako, Cape Coast.
And thanks for staying with us here on Joy News Prime. Next is business.
And it's time to do business with me, Beverly Broom. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres is urging the government of Ghana and other governments around the world to increase taxes on oil and gas companies. His call is coming on the back of record profits made by these companies as crude oil prices surge on the world market. Speaking from his base in New York, USA, Mr. Guterres maintained that it will be appropriate to share the profits with countries that host oil and gas companies.
It is immoral for oil and gas companies to be making record profits from this energy crisis on the back of the poorest people and communities and at a massive cost to the climate. The combined profits of the largest energy companies in the first quarter of this year are close to $100 billion. I urge all governments to tax these excessive profits and use the funds to support the most vulnerable people through these difficult times. And I urge people everywhere to send a clear message to the fossil fuel industry and their financiers that this grotesque greed is punishing the poorest and most vulnerable people while destroying our only common home, the planet. Every country is part of this energy crisis, and all countries are paying attention to what others are doing. There is no place for hypocrisy. Developing countries don't lack reasons to invest in renewables. Many of them are living with the severe impact of the climate crisis, including storms, wildfires, floods, and droughts. What they lack are concrete, workable options. And meanwhile, developing countries are urging them to invest in renewables without providing enough social, technical, or financial support. And some of those same developed countries are introducing universal subsidies at gas stations, while others are reopening coal plants. It is difficult to justify such steps, even on a temporary basis.
Meanwhile, energy economist Ato Echampon said, although several calls have been made in that direction, its implementation will be complicated.
I think I've seen a number of these calls being made over the last couple of months from various quarters, but they do rather seem populist in my view and not really driven by the underlying realities. And I'll explain that for a moment. So what are these windfall taxes? It's basically a company benefiting from a one-off activity that otherwise they had not anticipated. So because of the war in Ukraine, oil prices went up, commodities prices went up, and subsequently the companies are earning excessive or supernormal profits. However, many of these companies also have signed contracts with the respective countries and where the oil is being extracted from, which have often rigid provisions around the stabilization provisions. So what this means is that it's actually going to be extraordinarily very difficult to want to change the tax structure and or use the legal means to in an attempt to collect a little bit more money from them because prices have gone up. So the reality is that although we want to, and people are advocating for such windfall taxes, it is actually far more complicated to implement them than would actually be the case. And even in the UK.
And that's energy economist Theo Echampong there. Now, away from that, the Ghana cedi's sharp depreciation against the US dollar might not end anytime soon. This because the US dollar continue to strengthen on the international market. There's more in the following report.
The US dollar has posted some strong appreciation against other major trading currencies over the past month. This is because most investors are turning to that currency due to the current global economic challenges. The dollar's value has increased by more than 10% when compared to its peers on the international market. The same can be said for currencies of emerging markets like Ghana. Another development that has helped the dollar's fortunes is the hikes in the Federal Reserve interest rate. This development has also pulled a lot of offshore investors into the USA market to invest in dollar-backed assets. Some analysts are arguing the problems facing the Ghana cedi may not be ending soon as long as the dollar's value continues to strengthen in the coming weeks. This is despite the current challenge facing the Ghanaian cedi being more than a supply issue. The country's current challenges are mainly about its fundamentals. So yes, a strong dollar will lead to other currencies depreciating, but the margin of that might be lower than what is being witnessed here in Ghana. Analysts say the cedi might have depreciated by more than 20% to the dollar ending July 2022. In all of this, the good news is that Ghana's international reserve position may be improving strongly in the last quarter of 2022.
And that's it for business here on Joy News Prime. Up next is sports.
Pleasure coming your way with the sport. I'm Gary L. Smith, and we begin at the Commonwealth Games. Of course, the national 200-meter record holder Joseph Paul Amoah has qualified for the semi-final at the ongoing games after running a time of 20.58 seconds in heat 5. He's qualified for the final, not the semi-final. Here's a wrap by my colleague Kwame Benaya.
Amoah came out top of the pile in his heat where he was the man to beat, but faced stiff competition from Carl Groh, clocked 21.01 seconds. The two received automatic qualification to the semis. Meanwhile, University of Ghana track and field athlete Abdul Rashid Saminu narrowly missed out on a semi-final berth after recording a time of 21.32 seconds in heat 2, where he finished third. The first two in each heat plus the next 8 fastest times were those who advanced to the semi-finals. Kenya's Hesbono Chiang finished 4th in heat 5, but his time of 21.30 seconds meant that he nicked the final qualification spot over Abdul Rashid Saminu's 21.32 seconds. The men's 200 semi-final will take place on Friday, August 5. In the women's events, Rosie Abua and Abigail Kwarteng secured a high jump final berth after they both cleared heights of 1.81 meters.
So you saw one person in the frame there, Abdul Rashid, and he's from the University of Ghana. He's a field athlete. Abdul Rashid Saminu has expressed delight with his Commonwealth Games debut today, which saw him finish third in heat 2. Saminu, who is a 100-meter specialist, finished the race with a personal best of 21.32 and was running his first 200-meter event in 4 years. The last time he did so was in 2019, and he nearly qualified for the next stage, where at the time, in 2019, he clocked 21.58 at the African Junior Championships in La Côte d'Ivoire. Now, he only went to the Commonwealth Games because, as fate would have it, you recall that Ghana's Team A, made up of Azamati, Joe Paul Amoah, and others, all could not go for the games. So 2 of them, that's Emmanuel Yeboah and Joseph Menu, were unable to go to Birmingham due to various issues, visas and stuff. And that is how Saminu and some University of Ghana students got the opportunity. After the race today, he spoke to my colleague, Michelle Aquino. So after the near miss, did we have any good news? Yes. Ghana has won a 3rd medal at the Commonwealth Games, and that, let's go to our Twitter to have a look at it, has come from Abraham Mensah. The 18-year-old boxer beat the Sri Lankan Rukmal Prasanna 3-1 in the bantamweight quarterfinal. And as you know, in the Olympics and the Commonwealth Games, when you get to this stage, you are guaranteed a minimum of bronze. So he becomes the 3rd athlete from Ghana to get himself into the medal zone and an automatic bronze at least. Now he's going to fight for silver and gold. Omar Wahid and Joseph Kome are the other 2 medalists. So Ghana has 3 medals from the Commonwealth Games. Gary Al Smith here with the sport. You can get all the rest on myjoyonline.com and on our socials.
Time now for showbiz, and the lovely Becky is here. Hello, Becky.
Hello to you, Blessed.
Yeah, and I see E-Vibes.
Oh, yeah, representing E-Vibes. You know, I promised Ernest Menu that I will not flirt with you on TV.
Okay, so let's keep it safe.
Yeah, let's keep it safe. So as far as I am concerned, I am in the knowledge that death can never extinguish the torch which I have lit in Ghana and Africa. Long after I am dead and gone, the light will continue to burn and be born aloft, giving light and guidance to all people. That is a quote from one of the founding fathers of our great country, Ghana, Kwame Nkrumah. He was part of the Big 6 leaders of the United Gold Coast Convention, one of the leading political parties in the British colony of the Gold Coast, known after independence as Ghana. They were detained by the colonial authorities in 1948 following disturbances that led to the killing of 3. They are pictured on, of course, the front of the Ghana CD notes, considered the founding fathers. Well, Kwame Nkrumah, first Prime Minister and first President of Ghana, Ebenezer Akweje, founding member of the UGCC, Edward Akufo-Addo, founding member of the UGCC, and subsequently Chief Justice and President of Ghana, Joseph Boachi Dankwa, founding member of the UGCC, Emmanuel Obichebi Lamte, founding member of the UGCC, William Ofori-Atta is also founding member of the UGCC. So, Blessed, these are our founders, and we're celebrating them today.
We have for Joy News Prime and Blessed, so you can log on to myjoyonline.com. We have some more updates for you. Becky will definitely be back tomorrow.